All right, the Elder Scrolls Online Q&A for January 23rd, 2013. Still have to get used to saying that, 2013, you know?
13.
God, where's my life going? What am I doing here?
We are the ShoddyCast, hosted by yours truly, Kyle, and my ever-talented brother.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. Josh, I've been waiting forever for you to say
the man with the voice.
The man with the voice.
I'm just the man with the knowledge, I guess. I'm the nerdy guy in the background that looks up the information.
I guess so.
You're the
That's
talent.
kind of a depressing way to look at it. I don't know why you're looking. That's
You're the
really
talent,
sad.
I'm just the nerd in the background.
No, we are both the talent. We are both the talent. And
Right.
Anyway, Scuba Steve is the shiz asks, what are your stances on buy to play versus subscribe to play versus free to play for the Elder Scrolls Online?
All right, this is the big
Oh,
issue.
this is gonna be a long one. I feel it.
Because, yeah, everyone's asking, what is the business model going to be? And every time we're like, we don't know. Or someone else is answering and telling, we don't know, because ZeniMax has not said anything about it. They are saying it is too early in their development to discuss business models.
Which
at
it
this
seems
time.
like every MMO that has released to date, except for maybe the exception of Guild Wars, has always kind of played that close and is
Yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna wait. We'll talk about money later. Whereas Guild Wars, you always knew that was going to be free to play. But wait, not free to play. What's the other option? It's pay to play, and that's what we want for the Elder Scrolls Online, right?
That's, well, I don't know, because I'm kind of split. It depends on certain things.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Okay, so let's just talk about them first off, so people know what they are. So we have the subscribe to play, which is the WoW model.
Yes.
So you pay for the initial cost of the game,
Pay for the box.
and then you have a monthly payment, monthly subscription fee, which is what, $15 or something, unless
Oh,
you have
yeah.
some deal or something. like that.
$15 seems to be always the magic number for those guys.
So that's the old model that we have known and hated. Then there's the buy to play, which seems to be the newer, or the pay to play, whatever you want to call it, the new model that we're seeing in games these days, which is like Guild Wars 2, where you pay, like you said, for the box, and then there's no subscription fee. It's pretty much funded from then on from microtransactions,
Right.
which is usually, hopefully, just for aesthetic things and maybe some things to help you level. Just things like that. Nothing that gives you an unfair advantage,
Right.
be it in
Just
PvP or
cosmetics,
some ridiculously powerful weapon or something.
the sword of a thousand trees.
Yeah,
None of that.
nothing you couldn't get by other means in game. So that's the newer type model. And then there's the free-to-pay model, which you're seeing. I think PlanetSide 2 is free to play, which basically means you pay for nothing. You download the game, you can play immediately, you have access to a lot of the features, but then there's a lot more microtransactions, a lot bigger ones, that will unlock things like skins, and just other aspects of the game. So those are basically the trio that's going on right now. So what would we prefer, and what do we think ZeniMax will go with?
Okay. Well, I think that definitely the World of Warcraft model, I think that's dead. I think that's something that only World of Warcraft was able to achieve to the extent it did. I know every MMO developer wants to be the next WoW in their business model, but it's just, I don't think it's gonna happen again. I think if any MMO was gonna be able to do it again, it was Star Wars: The Old Republic,
Sotoria.
which they started as that, and then they quickly found out that it just wasn't. People aren't willing to pay for MMOs anymore, like the old days, you know.
But, so what do we see ZeniMax doing? It is going to be hard now that we're seeing other MMOs like Guild Wars 2 coming out with the
Right.
pay-to-play model
Oh, no.
to go back to the old subscribe to
Exactly, and that's why I think that the old World of Warcraft model is dead, is because of MMOs, like you just mentioned, like Guild Wars 2. You have this excellent title that is, it's pay to play. You know, you buy for the box, and then that's it. You have some microtransactions, but
I don't know. I could see the pros of paying monthly, but then I also wouldn't want it to be $15 a month.
yeah,
I would pay $5, maybe $10, But
yeah, no. Why does it have to
maybe
be
the
15?
price of like my Netflix account. I mean, I don't even notice the $7 I'm paying
That's
every month.
true. I did. You know what? That's a great point, and I'm surprised I didn't even think. Why does it have to be $15 a month?
It doesn't.
If it was $5 a month and I got an awesome TES MMO, that would be fine. $5 a month doesn't seem like much to me. I mean, that's the price of a sub. If I had to place my bet right now, I would say they go with the pay to play model. I think so you pay for the box. I think they're gonna do. You're gonna pay for the box.
Subscription free.
Yeah, subscription fee.
Is
You're
what
gonna pay
you're
for
saying.
the box, and then, well, you know what? Another model. What about the Guild Wars 1 model? Which I actually liked. I liked this model, and I like it more than World of Warcraft's model,
Multiple campaigns.
where there's multiple campaigns. But what I'm thinking is that, okay, for those who aren't familiar, can you explain Guild Wars'
Well, that was basically,
basically.
again, the same pay-to-play thing. You paid for the box, and there was no... I don't think they even had many transactions at the time. They only had, like, player slots.
Right.
You can buy player slots, and that was basically it.
Mm-hmm. But expansions came out
But yeah,
very
expansions came
regularly.
out every year.
Every year.
An expansion came out.
Without fail.
And that's where they would make their money, was on those expansions.
And the expansions wouldn't rise to the level cap or anything like that. It would
No.
just give you more content to explore and...
Yes, they would add classes and then, again, more content. And then you can create a brand new character from either one of the campaigns. But then the campaigns would always add a little something extra, like the factions campaign, the second one. Added a whole new PvP aspect, having two different factions, the Luxons and the Kurziks, going against each other.
Yes.
Go Kurziks. So, so that was a cool thing. And then, so yeah, that's basically their model. And then they came out it wasn't a campaign, it was an expansion, Eye of the North, which then added this. It was meant to be like the bridge between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. It brought you up to speed, sort of, into Guild Wars 2. And then they had the whole Hollow Monuments and adding stuff. Yeah, anyways. So that's another model they could do, which they may actually do, because they've even said that a lot of Cyrodiil, or not Cyrodiil, but all of Tamriel is blocked off for future expansion.
Yes.
Now, we don't know if that means like there'll just be events where they expand certain areas after a while, or will they be actual whole expansions that we have to pay for?
Right. See, I actually wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind having the main copy, purchasing the main copy, and then them releasing an expansion every year where you got new places to explore. Could you imagine that if, like, Skyrim every year got a new game that just opened up, just, you know, like DLC style, I guess, is what I'm kind of thinking of.
Yeah.
But big DLC stuff, like Shivering Isles size type.
Right.
You get either a whole little continent or island or something to explore, or it unlocks other places that you just haven't been.
But I can already hear the people bitching about them saying, oh, I paid the full price for not even the whole game, because they have places of the map not accessible, and then they have to pay more money to open this up later if they have expansions.
Well, you don't have to, though.
But then they'll say it's like, oh, well, I can't get the whole game now because they want more money. People are going to be arguing regardless, but I can already see the people complaining about that.
I have no problem with paying for more content. You know, that's the
basically
same
what you're
idea
doing
behind
with
DLC,
subscriptions.
which is what I'm doing. But with subscriptions, I pay every month regardless of if they release content that month, and that's what pisses. Now, if they said subscription, but every single month we're gonna release something that's worth $15, then okay, I'll be behind that. But that's just it. I'm not paying for content. I'm going through the motions. I'm paying that $15 no matter what, and that's what I steer away from. I don't like that.
Interesting thing is we haven't even really talked about free-to-play yet. So I guess we don't even think that's an option.
I don't think it's an option. Free-to-play means totally and utterly free.
Completely free, but it'll be based completely on microtransactions.
That's like crappy Facebook games, their model, you know? This is a different
Well, that's the
caliber,
thing, because
right?
when you start talking about free-to-play, it's a very thin line between free-to-play and then pay-to-win, because they're going to have to get money somehow if they start doing this free-to-play thing. PlanetSide 2 seems to be doing it okay. But I mean, yeah, if you want... I could just see that going the wrong way quick if they do free to play.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with buying a free, not buying a free game, I have no problem with free games, Kyle. Did you know that? I have no problem with those. No, I don't mind putting down money for a good game, especially if it'll filter out the undesirables that are just, I've never played a test game. I've never played an MMO. I don't like games particularly, but this is free. Let me just go in here and muck it up. This is a 12-year-old talking, some like little. No, but I don't mind putting down money for a good game. So free to play, it's not an option, and I don't, at least not in my mind, and I don't think they'll go with it.
Me neither.
Wow.
So what are our votes? Let's just say, what do we think ZeniMax Online will be doing?
I think they'll do Guild Wars 2, what Guild Wars 2 is doing right now, which is you're paying for the box, and then they're going to offer cosmetics and stuff like that.
And I'm going to have to lean towards that, too. Hopefully that's what they're going to be doing, because, that seems to be the thing to do these days.
Yeah.
Subscribing is just a thing of the past, it seems.
Julian something Durst. ShoddyCast, just wondering how bows and arrows will work. Spells will be aimed, but will arrows? And will their range be limited, or like Skyrim?
Alright, now this is getting confusing to me because I'm getting conflicting information from
what
different
have you heard?
sources. So on one
I'm very
thing,
interested. I plan on going at some stuff with bow too,
So it seems like the whole confusion is during the whole alpha and pre-alpha, they were switching between the hard locking system of previous like MMOs and stuff where you lock on a target. If you cast a spell, it's going to hit if you're within range.
Right.
And the same thing with bows and stuff. But then they went to the more soft locking thing where basically if you tab target a person, all that is to do is to kind of distinguish one mob from another. So if one mob is right next to another mob and you cast a spell, you want it to hit that mob that you're targeting. And then also it may display like health or something that mob has. So that's like the soft locking thing. So that still means you'll have to aim your spell, at least in the direction of the person. And then also that's going to mean arrows as well. So ranged abilities, regardless of it being staff bolts showing shooting or whatever, and then shooting your bow. I don't know how precise your aiming is going to have to be.
It's probably not going to have to be very precise. At least not, probably not like it's not going to be Skyrim, where you have to account for your arrow dropping, which I would love to have that in an MMO, but.
Because that seems to be like a huge disadvantage.
It'd be really hard. You have players, in single-player test games, NPCs are predictable. They're going to run at you. They might sidestep some things like that, but we're talking about players here. The guys jumping around, can you imagine that?
Yeah, it would be really hard, almost impossible to hit them with an arrow.
At least in PvP and stuff, that'd be really difficult. So there has to be some sort of locking mechanism.
I'm thinking it's going to be basically the middle of the road. It's going to be, you're going to have the soft lock feature, so the coding will be able to distinguish what you're aiming at, what person you're actually wanting to hit. But then you're also going to have to be facing that person, probably within a certain narrow range, degree or whatever.
Right.
I can't explain it. You're going to have to be looking at the person, obviously. You can't be shooting an arrow the other way, but because you have that person locked, it's going to hit them.
Yeah,
no. You're going to have to be aiming towards them.
Yeah, you can't be totally incompetent. You've got to...
So, now, that means, the height of your arrow might not matter, but you have to be looking at the person to hit them. That's what I'm thinking it's going to have to be. So there's going to be some aiming involved, but not as much as in Skyrim, where you had to, be precise. So no trick shots.
Now this is interesting because I was just thinking to myself, wouldn't it be impossible to have that sort of Skyrim-ish combat in a multiplayer setting like that? But now we have games like Chivalry and what's the other one called? Chivalry and
with the War of the Roses?
War of the Roses, where they made ranged combat worked in those games with a bow and arrow and stuff.
That is
in
true.
A multiplayer setting. And it was people love those games. I haven't played them myself personally, but they seem to work. That system seemed to work.
I've watched quite a few playthroughs in it. It seemed okay. I guess it's all about balancing, because you don't want to give an unfair advantage just because someone wants to play a ranged class. even though it seems to be, it's always the unfair advantage to be a melee. Because you always have to...
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Because in real life, wouldn't you rather, I don't know, have a bow and shoot the guy off in the distance? And wouldn't that be more of an advantage than having the guy has to run all the way up to you with a sword?
It always seems to be like an unfair advantage for ranged classes. So maybe they're going the opposite thing. Maybe they are making it more difficult where you do have to aim more precisely with your bow and magic spells.
I would honestly, oh man, my guess is they won't do this though, but I would love to see more of a chivalry type combat where it is like, because I always like it when multiplayer, like an MMO type game, can move stuff away from just being a numbers game where, okay, I have better armor, my hits are gonna hit, my strokes are gonna hit you better and stuff like that, and I'm gonna do more damage to you. I always appreciate the game that puts the better player is going to be the guy who thinks and can strategize and that actually can use mechanics. What am I trying to say?
I don't even know, you lost me.
No, but you know what I mean? Where there's more skill involved in combat than just, I can hit you better because I have better armor.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one. I definitely. What did Jesse Cox had a few things. He actually said that combat. We don't know what combat's gonna be like, but he does because he's actually played the game, and he said that was the thing that excited him the most about the game was the combat in his alpha review.
Well, see, the thing is though, all the alpha testers were only able to play a melee class. They had no ranged abilities. They couldn't use any staves or bows and arrows. They had to use a melee weapon because I guess, like I said, they were still in the process of switching their targeting system and everything. They didn't have it ready for them. So that's why we don't actually know for sure what they are going to be doing with their whole targeting system, whether it's going to be the hard locking or the soft locking where you have to aim precisely or just be facing the target. We do not know for sure. No one knows except for the developers. And we probably won't know until closed beta, is there and some information starts coming out.
Well, I hope they release a stinking. I want to see a video with actual characters, going combat. I haven't seen any. I haven't really seen much of the UI at all. But yeah, we're still a year out, so it only makes sense. But yeah, I wouldn't mind either a soft locking system either. As long as there's some sort of skill. I don't want it to be and I don't think it will be like MMOs are today, where it's just you thinking shoot a fireball, the guy's standing 90 degrees to your right, and you shoot a fireball, and then the fireball not only will find him, but he'll jump around and run in random directions, and it'll still hone on him it's a honing device, I don't think it'll be like that, at least not from what I've read and stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a soft locking system.
I'm just hoping you at least have to be looking at the person, because that at least means the person has the ranged class or whatever has to be alert to what's going on, and they have to be facing the proper way, and not just make it a face roll. I don't want it to be a face roll. I don't want it to be button mashing and then the person dies.
Yeah, and I don't think it will be, because at least from what I've read and from what I've heard from the pre-alpha testers and just from ZeniMax themselves, that they're not looking for traditional MMO combat. They're looking to bring the Skyrim test-style combat to an MMO. And I hope, basically what I'm hoping, we know for sure Melee is going to be like that, because we've had the pre-alpha testers do that, but we don't know whether or not the ranged is going to be. That's the question, and I think they will. I think they will make it like that, just because at least that's what they've said. So if they're developers of their word, they will most definitely make a system that has some sort of aiming and skill element involved. So, anyway, I think that
should be
that. Was that our last question?
Yes, sir.
Alright then. This has been the ShoddyCast. I've been Josh.
And I've been Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.